War. War never changes. Hello everybody and welcome back to Weekend Tabletop Warrior. Today we are going to do an unboxing because my local game store finally got in my copy of Fallout Wasteland Warfare, the pre-order edition. So a few notes about the pre-order edition. It comes with everything the regular two-player starter set comes with, but it also comes with a Zetan alien. Fallout fans will know kind of what the story is behind that alien. But you get a copy of him to play as well. I'm not really sure exactly what his deal is. I'm assuming it's some sort of enemy to play against in the campaign version of this game. But I still have it in the shrink. I wanted to save that for you guys as well. So let's take that off and see what's inside this box. Let's take a look to see what this looks like right when we open the box up. So let's just take the cover off. By the way, the box art on this game is just amazing. You've got the super mutants up here in the background. You've got the mutant hounds. You've got Dogmeat. You've got the lone survivor. And you have either a lone survivor or a Brotherhood of Steel guy in the power armor. Super dynamic, super awesome. The more you look around the scene, the more you're going to see. There's a nuclear explosion going off in the background. There's a tree on fire. The red rocket. Gas stations in the background. There's a Nuka-Cola bottle on the ground for crying out loud. So I think there's even a synth head lying on the ground here. So there's just a lot going on. The detail in this just looks very, very cool. So I'm very excited to crack it open and see what we've got inside the box here. Alright, so right off the bat, you can see the getting acclimated. I love the art here. It's very Fallout, very Vault-Tec-ish. Modiphius Games definitely spent a lot of time figuring out how to make this game feel like Fallout. You've got a woman here. She's in the one of the Vault-Tec jumpsuits. She's got a sledge, maybe a super sledge over her shoulder. It just feels very Fallout. I think she's in like the big gear logo. So what this is the initial know-how for Wasteland Survival. It almost reminds me of a magazine you find in Fallout 4 to learn a perk or a skill or something. But essentially what this is it's the quick start rules for this game. And it gives you a scenario that you can play through just as a solo player to kind of get a feel for what the game is and how to play. So I won't go through this whole thing. Maybe I'll do another video on kind of rules and a breakdown of how the game plays. Maybe do a little review once I get a chance to put these miniatures on the table. But essentially, this gives you a couple scenarios to walk through. Tutorial 1, navigating the wastes, is how to move around the board. It uses these colored sticks, which you'll see. Your special. Again, fans of the Fallout series will know what special is. These are your skills: strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. So these apparently come into play as well. And you can actually see, there's a little picture of a character card here. You can see those come into play, the special. And it's how to use skill checks in this game. So this is a game based on skill checks. For those of you that kind of know tabletop games that use skill checks, you're going to roll some dice, see if you succeed at something that you're trying to do. Tutorial 2 is a shooting range. It shows you how to target and shoot things around the board. And then Tutorial 3, Weird Harvest. So it looks like it's showing you how to loot things and use different weapons that you find around the wasteland. And your new best friends, so effects dice, damage and armor, and kind of all the little things that you're going to need to know once you're getting into combat, and what all these symbols mean on the dice, because there are custom dice in this game. And Tutorial 4, solving the rat problem. So it sounds like, the first mission in the vault in was it Fallout 3, where you have to kill a bunch of rad roaches in the vault or something. So it's one of those basic starter tutorial games. Now that you've learned all these things, put them into practice. And there is an AI system in this game, which I think is super fascinating. They took the time to really put a lot of work into this to make it feel like Fallout. You can play it solo if you really want to. You can play this game solo. You can play it solo with a couple of friends using the AI system. So the AI system basically allows you to put miniatures on the table that are enemies and play against them through different scenarios. So that's the Getting Acclimated guide, the quick start guide. So now here's a buttload of tokens. So this game uses a lot of tokens. I play a lot of Fantasy Flight games, so I'm used to a ton of tokens. If you're not, this might seem overwhelming because once you move this board of tokens, you're gonna find more. And then once you move that board of tokens, I guess that's it. I guess there's 2 sheets of tokens here. So there are maybe like quest tokens. Again, I haven't gone through the rules yet. This is just a quick unboxing, just to kind of figure out what we've got here. It looks like maybe damage tokens here. Maybe toolboxes, those are the kinds of things you loot in Fallout 4. Here are those measuring movement sticks that I was talking about. So when you have your character sheet and you're trying to figure out how quickly somebody can move from point A to point B, it's not going to say move 5 inches or move 6 inches. It's going to say move yellow to walk and move red to run or something like that. And it's going to use the same measurements for your measuring to shoot. I believe there is pre-measuring in this game, so you can take your stick out, put it where you think you want to try to hit, see if you can hit them already. And there's a big measuring stick in the middle, which probably gives you the full range of the longest thing that you'll be able to do. There's also locks. I'm assuming there's going to be lock picking in this game. You know, we talked about skill checks. It's probably going to be a lot of lock picking, computer hacking, all the stuff you can normally do in Fallout. And then when you flip this board over, there's different symbols on the back, aside from the measuring sticks, of course. But you get these radiation symbols here. The Vault Boy has a different sort of face, whereas on the other side it's more militaristic. He's got an army helmet on here. On the back, he just looks like the regular Vault Boy with the winky face. Oh, there are our terminals. Those are our computers. And then we have the little search icon there. So again, I'm going to make another video trying to explain kind of what this game is. Maybe do the Getting Acclimated thing for you on video, just to kind of give you an idea of what this game is if you're on the fence about buying it. The one thing I didn't mention yet is this game does have a pretty high price point. You know, as most tabletop games do, but if you're not used to this sort of price point, I think I paid about $70 for it. Luckily, I had a bunch of store credit from an auction that I did, but for anybody else, that could be a high price point, especially if you're watching this channel and you're kind of looking to do things on the cheap. So the reason I do talk about things on this channel to do things on the cheap is because the point of entry, the price for entry, a lot of these games is pretty high. So to do everything else to bling out your game, you want to probably pinch some pennies. But here is the next board. You'll see we have more measuring sticks. So it's the same colors as on the other one. So this game has everything you need for 2 players to just jump into the game and play. So everyone gets their own set of measuring sticks. There's condition tokens here. It looks like there's burning, there's freezing. This looks like it could be some sort of stun. And some green squishy brain thing. I'm not sure what that is. But you also have those markers 1 to 10 again here. Looks like you have some armor points here. So it looks like a little helmet with the +1 in them. And you have your bottle caps. So apparently currency does come into this game. I know it comes into this game for the campaign mode. I'm not sure if that's the type of thing that they use as well for buying your army with points and things like that. But again, we'll get into that in a separate video. And these, I kind of know what these are, just kind of from perusing some other resources. It kind of shows you once you've looked inside an object. So say I want to turn this over on the board and see what's inside. I can flip it over and see there's a trap in there maybe. I have to pass some mechanics checks to get in there. And if I fail, something happens. But I'm not really sure what the other symbols are. There's a lot of symbols going on in this game, and it's basically just going to be a learning curve trying to figure out what all these different things mean. We also have the luck tokens here, which is very interesting to me, so I'm very curious to see what the luck tokens mean. Alright, so now that we've gotten through the avalanche of tokens that we have, this next part is really, really interesting to me. So I have not played a game where they actually include for you a piece of terrain. So this is the play mat that you're going to use, and they give you 2, which maybe you put together, I'm assuming. It's paper. It's sort of glossy paper. The quality of the images on here are actually super good. So here's a piece of road. You can actually see the yellow lines kind of faded here, little cracks on the street, and it unfolds to reveal obviously more of the map. Let's see how much I can actually show here. Just the detail, like the rocks and everything, it's just really, really good. Obviously the only downside to this is you got all the creases and the folds in here. So this is usually something I do drop a little money on, to buy like a neoprene mat or something, but this is a great place to get started, especially if you don't have a lot of money for a neoprene mat, and if you want to just kind of jump in and play. Again, this is everything you need. You can start working with the terrain rules and things like that, but you do want to probably set this out a day in advance and just start putting something on top of this once you unfold it to get rid of those crease lines. So just keep that in mind. Here's the other one. There's all kinds of stuff on this. You got like a fallen transformer here. You've got a destroyed car. Just all kinds of stuff. This is actually really well done. All right, so now once we get past that, we get into the actual rule book. It looks like Rules of Play: Your Complete Guide to Battling in the Wasteland. So this is the same cover art we have on the box. But now we're going to jump into a little bit of the meat on how to play. And again, I'm not going to go through this whole book. It's actually quite a substantial looking book. There's a lot of stuff in here. So again, I'm not going to go into everything, but just kind of quickly touch on what to expect here. You get some great art here of the lone survivor with dog meat. Looks like a Nuka-Cola factory or something. You get your table of contents, of course. So then you have painting guides, which I thought was really cool to have in a book like this. You know, they're really trying to reduce the barrier to entry here. So they're showing you how to clean your miniature, and I'll do a video on this too. I'm like itching to prime and paint these miniatures, so I'm gonna do a little tutorial video on this as well. But essentially shows you how to wash your models. If you have the resin version of these models, I got the version of just the plastic, the PVC models. But you can get resin models that come on the sprues. So it shows you how to remove them from the sprues, remove any mold lines, prepare to glue the surface, glue on the pieces. The resin models don't come with very many pieces. It's like an arm that you have to attach. It's super easy. And then it just shows you kind of some things you might need to do that. You got the hair dryer, heat gun, whatever you want to use there. I don't even use those, but I love how it has a little Nuka-Cola cap on it. Just a level of detail stuff in this is really, really cool. And then it shows you some guides on how to paint them. It uses Army Painter colors. So if you actually have a bunch of Army Painter paints, they've got you covered. I use Citadel from Games Workshop, but you can easily transfer the colors. And I think I can put a link in the description, but I think there are a couple of charts out there that help you basically find a comparable color from one brand to another. So if you use Vallejo or if you use Games Workshop like I do, I'm sure I can find some sort of chart to include that helps you kind of find the appropriate match. But it shows you, you know, the different kinds of things you'll need: the undercoat, base coat, a wash, and a highlight. Those are the things you want to do when you're painting. So they kind of show you the colors to use in those steps. So I think that's really cool to include that. Leaving the vault. So that, and again, it's really cool art that makes this really feel like Fallout. And it just kind of walks you through the basic rules on how to move, how to use your special attributes, and that sort of thing. So it goes into more detail on that, the skill checks, the dice, what the symbols mean, and how the game is structured. Units and models, kind of how to read the cards, what sort of things are on there. There's dog meat again. Okay, so we get a little hint of what some of those tokens mean now. It's a ready token, is a little Vault Boy guy. So the military helmet says he's ready, he's unused. So at the beginning of the turn you must flip those over to say if they're used or not, and then once you use them you flip them over to the winky face Vault Boy. So that's kind of cool. Kind of adds that flavor even when you're playing a Fallout. It has a great shot here of some of the units in a destroyed building, which I think is really cool. There's Preston Garvey down there, if you've played Fallout 4. And then they go into more of the movement and engagement rules here. They do have, it looks like, a bunch of laser cut templates that you can buy as well. But I'm going to stick with these for now because I'm a weekend tabletop warrior and I don't have a ton of money to spend on this stuff. But it just talks about line of sight and shooting and using cover. There's a good amount of terrain rules in here, but they all seem very simple. So I think that's pretty great. Elevation advantages. I think having these types of rules is fantastic because in this type of game I want to have my models climbing stairs and shooting from the tops of buildings and stuff. Again, that feels very Fallout. I've gone into buildings and climbed like 10 stories just to get a sniper shot at somebody in Fallout 4. And again, it kind of goes through more of what the symbols mean. Are they taking physical damage? Are they taking radiation damage? Love that they have radiation damage in this game. So it talks about how to use armor, charging. So again, I'm not going to go through all these rules, but it really kind of gives you ideas of how to move and use combat scenarios. Searching the wasteland. He's being surrounded by bullets in this picture, the Vault Boy. So talks about scavenging, investigating markers, kind of how close you have to be, I guess, to actually activate those things, which is interesting. There's the Deathclaw, which there is a Deathclaw miniature in this game, and I cannot wait to paint it. And then it kind of talks about searchable marker undersides and kind of what these crazy symbols mean. Again, I'll do another video kind of explaining that a little bit more as an actual playthrough of the game. And then you have item types, all these different things. There is alcohol, there are chems in this game, pretty much anything you'd expect from Fallout. Power armor is a big thing in this game, which I think is super cool. So this is a paladin for the Brotherhood of Steel. That's the card, that's the character. Let's say he wants to use Buff Out, which is a chem, it's a drug in the game. He puts it underneath his card, so the stats, the plus stats, line up to show you he gets a plus benefit to his strength and a plus benefit to his endurance. Over time, it'll move over, you'll get these effects, and then if you ever roll a bad symbol, I forget exactly what it is, you flip it around to the other side and you have negative effects. So now you have withdrawal of the chem, which I think is really, really cool. There's a lot of thought put into that. So again, we'll do a little bit more in depth for that. Ready for action, there's a section here. Sorry, I know I'm holding this book really, really close. So ready for action here. So battle cry, I'm not really sure what that is. We'll go into that more. It looks like there's a lot of stuff there. Terrain rules, I love putting terrain on the board. Climbing and falling, so again, just a lot of different cases of what you might experience in here. Preparation, action, the tools of war. So this is, I think, where we get into some of the items and how to use the skill checks specifically. You get the power armor, advanced weapons, wasteland heroes. So again, it's more reading into the card and figuring out what all those things do. Luck, critical attacks, and then we have our massive index of icons, which this I think is going to be the steepest learning curve point for anyone learning this game, is just trying to figure out what all these icons mean. And then they have in the following pages, or the previous pages, I guess all the previous pages, they kind of show you where that symbol is and how to read it. So it's good that they have this in here. There are a lot of custom symbols in this game, and it's just going to take a little while to figure that out. So if you're wondering, as I flipped through that, where your items are, so where can I find my guns, how can I buy those with points and all that stuff, there should be a whole list in here. They're in here as cards, first, and secondly, there's a whole list of them online. Modiphius put all that stuff online for free. So you can go check out their website and check out your army building list from there. And now we're getting closer to the miniatures. We can see them down there. I'm getting really excited. There's a packaging issue here, I guess. My campaign book got a little squashed, but that's all right. So again, like I said, there's a whole campaign that you can do in this game, either by yourself or with some friends. And I'll just quickly flip through this. I know we're running a little long here, but it shows you how to set certain things up. You can build settlements in this, which I think is really cool. I'm really glad I flipped to this page. You can build your settlements. You can put different things in your settlements, like a workbench, a weapons workbench, power armor workbench, cooking station, and they all give you bonuses and benefits to different things. So I think that's a really cool way to make your campaign feel like Fallout. And it has a bunch of different scenarios in here for you as well. And rules on how, when you find different things, you can add them to your inventory. So I'm really looking forward to doing this. I might actually do one of these in a video as well, so keep an eye out there for that. Now, the one thing I will say, I'm very OCD and protective of all of my stuff, so I am super excited that they gave us little baggies to put all of our tokens in once we punch out all of those tokens, and the cards and things like that. There's more than enough bags here for that, so I think that's awesome that they did that for us. So again, here is the Zetan Alien card. If you can see it very well, it's got the plastic on there, so it's really hard to focus, I guess. But essentially, in here are all of your unit cards that you're going to use. On the back, it has the AI rules for the AI cards, which is really neat. So you can flip that over and just kind of know what to do there. So you got those. As I mentioned, they have a bunch of special dice. So if you've played any games like Imperial Assault from Fantasy Flight Games or Descent, actually anything from Fantasy Flight Games these days, they're RPGs. If you've played X-Wing or anything like that, they have custom dice. So they have all these different symbols. Looks like armor piercing, damage. These minus symbols help you with accuracy for your shot. This, I think, white die is something you roll all the time. There's an actual just straight up fail symbol there. There's a critical hit symbol somewhere. So there's all kinds of different things here that, again, you'll have to learn the symbols. But there's a Nuka-Cola bottle, which is actually VATS in the game. So they do have VATS in this game for, I believe, heroic models. But again, we'll get into that in more details. But I think it's really cool that they found a way to work that in. If you're familiar with Fallout at all, you know what VATS is. Using your Pip-Boy, you basically slow down time to target certain areas of your enemy. I believe the way this works, you get a free quick action. So you can move quickly, you can take a quick shot at something, that sort of thing, but it's only for certain models that they actually get that. But I think even the lower models might be able to do something with that. I'm not quite sure yet. And the last thing before we get to the models is the item cards here. There's quite a few of them. It's a little deceptive when they're in there. It doesn't look like that many, but this is all the item cards you get. That's quite a few, I think. So you have the hunting rifle here. And then, so if we just break this down really quickly, you can see the range on it. So it's a blue for short, a black for longer range. And then for the shorter range, you're throwing 2 yellow dice. For the longer range, you're rolling 2 green dice, which is really interesting. I'm not really sure what this symbol means. I don't know if it's like an endurance type symbol or anything like that. It could very well be. And then I'm not sure what long only means. Maybe that's if you get something like this, you have to only use it in long range. I'm not really sure. There are heroic abilities on the back. So it looks like there's more than just item cards here. There might be some other pieces in here that I missed. So instead of going through all of these cards, maybe we'll do that again in another video, but that's essentially what you get there. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the models. So let's first take a look at the terrifying and beautiful Deathclaw. So the detail in here, I know it's really hard to see. It looks really shiny actually on the light, but it's really not that bad in person. And again, it's just a green plastic. You can paint this any color you like. The detail on the spines is pretty incredible. The mouth, you can really, when you put a wash on this thing, it's really going to bring out a lot of the detail here. I wish this would focus just a little bit better, but it's a solid color, so I know it's kind of hard. The base terrain. They actually put base terrain on this thing. You can probably work it up a little bit more, but I don't know why you'd want to. They texturize the base. I know it's a little hard to see, but they texturize that. They put some like broken concrete under here and a tire, and some rubble over here. So it's just incredible. Again, the layer of detail. I mean, it's just a rock, but the level of detail they've put into these is just absolutely amazing. Here is my pre-order bonus, Zeton Alien. This will get some base terrain going on there. You know, he's got a suit on. I know it's hard to see again the detail, but he's got like little straps on his suit there. He's got his little alien pack there. So again, a lot of great detail. The pavement crack is just amazing. Like, this is just really, really good work. Let's move on to the Super Mutants next. I know there's certain names for these models here. I think they're on the bottom. No, they're not. So again, great terrain on the bottom there. He looks like he has some sort of pipe rifle, this guy. He's got some Super Mutant armor on here. I don't see a lot of mold lines on these. Like, there's one like here, pardon my finger, but that little line there. But I really don't see a lot of mold lines on these models, which is fantastic. You've got the Mutant Hounds. I know one of my friends is really excited to play the Super Mutants, so he's been waiting for this game to come in as well. So we got the Mutant Hound here. He's a cute looking guy. Big beefy looking mutt. The other one actually looks different. He's got his mouth open and his tongue hanging out, so I'll just show that real quick too. That'll be fun to paint. You've got what looks like some sort of super sledge wielding guy. So it looks like he's got some armor on his arms here, the super sledge. He's got like some sort of shielding armor there. Again, the level of detail on these guys is just incredible. And then you have this guy. I don't know if this was the Aviator, but there was one that was called the Aviator. I think it is, because he's got the Aviator goggles on, the helmet there. But it looks like he has a couple pipe pistols that he's wielding there. Some sort of back armor. And again, he's got those Aviator goggles on the top of his head. Just another good model. So now we're getting into the survivors. So I think, I'm trying to see here, I think this does have the Brotherhood of Steel logo on it, but it's just a suit of power armor, to be honest. You know, I figured what you could do in this game is, if you have a character that you're putting power armor on, you can use this model instead of that model, just to kind of show that they're wearing the power armor. That's probably what I'm going to do with these models. But I can't wait to paint this as well. This is going to be a lot of fun to paint. So again, I'll do some painting tutorials. I might actually start with this one because it'll be a little easier, because it's mostly one color, aside from some of the accents and things like that. But again, this is another good thing if you're going into the Brotherhood of Steel. If you're going to be buying some of those models, you have something to start with here. We have the Lone Survivor here. The female version of the Lone Survivor. I believe the male version of the Lone Survivor, if you want him, is also in an expansion box. So she's got the, looks like the 10mm pistol there. She's got a rifle on her back. And she's wearing the vault suit, everything you kind of expect from her. Again, the ground terrain is just amazing. And then you have a bunch of random survivors. You've got this guy. Looks like he's got some sort of sniper rifle there. He's got a hood on. You've even got a lantern on the ground for him. It's pretty amazing. This guy even has terrain sticking up off the ground. I can pull him out without breaking him. There we go. This is again just a random survivor. He looks like he's just got like a harness on, some sort of rifle, maybe a shotgun actually. It's like a piece of rebar sticking up out of the ground here, so that's pretty cool. It'll be fun to paint him. Another survivor, which looks like some sort of pipe pistol here. He's got a hood on as well, and what's he holding in his other hand? Can't really tell what he's holding in his other hand. Maybe like a wrench or something? I'm not really sure. That's interesting. Maybe this is like a scavenger type character. Maybe he's picking stuff off the ground. And then of course, best for last, everybody's favorite, Dogmeat. So Dogmeat's the German Shepherd that you get in the game. There is a version of him in the expansion. I believe it's the same expansion with the male Soul Survivor that I talked about earlier, that has Dogmeat that's actually wearing goggles on his head. So I'm gonna have to get that just for that model. Alright, so that was our first look at the unboxing of Fallout Wasteland Warfare. I'm gonna hopefully have a lot more videos on this game, guys. I'm really excited for this. Modiphius seems to have done a really good job with post-apocalypse games in the past. Really kind of excited to dig into this game and get started. I'm definitely going to have some painting tutorials out there for you, some actual plays and things like that, so definitely keep an eye on this channel for that. Hit that subscribe button, smack that bell icon, get notifications every time I'm posting video. There's going to be a lot coming for this game, especially because there is such a high price point. I'm going to be doing a lot of things that kind of help save some time, save some dough, save some caps if you will. But until then, I will see you guys next time.